This video is not a meme, but I probably shouldn't even describe it as a video. It's just me talking over a black screen for a few minutes, so minimize the window and just do something fun while I talk. Without any further introduction, this video is about suicide. More specifically, it's about why suicide is Chad. To define it explicitly, suicide is the act of taking your own life. One might think about it and say, well, that doesn't sound very appealing. I like living, breathing air, and drinking water. That view on life is completely valid. It is not in the interest of most people to take their own life due to the fact that life is generally enjoyable for them, but that's not the target demographic. There are many different reasons for people to commit suicide. Usually, there's some kind of disorder that helps drive them to the point of no return, like depression, bipolarism, substance abuse, chronic fatigue, and a whole bunch of other stuff that makes people's bones hurt. People also kill themselves because of some negative event that happened to them, like failing a big test, losing your entire life savings, a particularly painful breakup, consistent bullying, or some other tragedy. The final and most Chad reason for committing suicide is sacrifice for some kind of greater cause. Even if that cause is ultimately evil, doing something so dramatic for a cause you believe in is still Chad. Examples include Japanese kamikaze pilots, stopping a school shooter or terrorist event, etc. People who find themselves in situations like that have legitimate reasons for killing themselves, and I don't look down on them in the slightest. People will say, it doesn't matter what the situation is. Life is sacred and life is beautiful, so you can't throw it away like that. To that I reply, why is life the most important thing? Even if there isn't an afterlife, life really isn't as hype as it seems. The world is dying at an alarming rate. Short-term material gain is prioritized over security and longevity. People are dying horrible deaths from preventable diseases, wars, concentration camps, and other terrible things. I don't want to associate with a society like this, especially if I don't even feel good about being in it. There are only a few things keeping people from doing it: their preference for life, their biological instincts telling them not to, their concern for the world after their passing, and curiosity for the future. Being able to overcome these hurdles is difficult for normal people, which is exactly what makes suicide Chad. The ability to take your own life just because you felt like it is a power move that me and other people envy. The entirety of life is an anomaly, not a blessing. Being able to take control at the end of your life by not letting something stupid like a car crash or illness kill you is noble as hell. The power of being able to distance yourself from the reasons not to do it and not caring about whether there's an afterlife is a transcendence of living flesh. Eventually, the only thing that matters are those that you care for that don't share the same attitude. But even that starts to fade in significance as time goes on. MC Ride of Death Grips puts it into words perfectly on their track On GP. All the nights I don't die for you, wouldn't believe all the nights I die for you on GP. Not that I care, I'd be a liar if I sat here claiming I'd exit in a minute, but I can't say I wouldn't. I have my limit. All the nights I don't die. Of course, there's the counter argument that living life, no matter how numbing or painful it may be in defiance of the universe, is more Chad than committing suicide. I respect those that hold this opinion, and I probably held it to in the past, but the people who say that are too optimistic. I hear people have success stories after their suicide attempts or to survive and go on to lead happy lives that make them think they were fools for ever wanting to end their life in the first place. I envy those people, because they got to find purpose and enjoyment in life in the end, regardless of how long it took or how much they suffered. Many people never find a fitting resolution like that. They live their lives for decades without drive and regret deeply once their finite time on Earth has run dry. In the end, they probably wish they had never lived in the first place. The struggle to keep going on never paid off, so you can't tell everybody to keep going on just because it might pay off in the future. If you got this far, I suppose you at least care a little bit, so I'll share some of my personal thoughts. I won't say that my life has been tragic, because that's false. People with trauma, deep losses, or constant struggles live a much more tragic life than some guy who lives comfortably in the suburbs. I would describe my life as unfulfilling. It seems as if I were here for no good reason. I have no grand ambitions or drive to do anything special, a point that my 8th grade math teacher was quick to call me out for in the middle of the entire class. People are supposed to develop feelings of futility when they're middle-aged or something, not me. I've undergone this crisis since my middle school days. I used to have a wish that I would die by the time I was 16. That passed quite a while ago and I don't feel like making that wish again. Currently, I'm stuck in a state where I don't enjoy life as much as I think I should, but not tormented enough to actively seek release from this fleshy vessel. So I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. If you're going to worry, don't. Where did I go wrong?